It was past midnight, and the hum of the servers at Site 7 sounded almost like a living heartbeat. Most people never even hear it. Most people will never even know this place exists. But to me, it's the sound of everything the Foundation is built on. Because inside these racks of encrypted drives and whispering, cooling fans is more than data. It's the truth. Every experiment, every accident, every anomaly, every mistake the higher-ups want scrubbed away. And here's the catch. If we, RAISA, fail, the Foundation itself collapses. I'm RAISA. Not my real name, but the one you're allowed to know. I'm one of the lead scientists here at the Recordkeeping and Information Security Administration. Most people think of us as the paperwork department. They couldn't be more wrong. What we do here decides whether humanity survives tomorrow. And to explain why, we need to start with how this all began. Before RAISA existed, the Foundation's records were a mess. Local sites had their own filing systems, their own security standards, and their own little fiefdoms of knowledge. Information was scattered like broken glass. Dangerous if you picked it up the wrong way. Useless if you didn't know where to look. The tipping point came after a series of breaches where critical info was misfiled, misplaced, or in some cases, deliberately altered. People lost their lives because the Foundation didn't have one ironclad system of truth. That's when the overseers authorized the creation of a new department, an independent one. Something that wouldn't answer to site directors or even other departments. And so, RAISA was born. We weren't designed to fight monsters, build weapons, or run experiments. We were built to do something far scarier. Remember. But if you think that sounds boring, wait until you hear what we actually keep locked away in these vaults. Site 7 is unlike any other Foundation facility. You won't find containment chambers or armed guards pacing cell blocks here. Instead, you'll find endless hallways of servers, archive rooms stacked with documents, and vaults that hum with dimensional stabilizers. We were placed offshore, cut off from most global networks, because RAISA doesn't just keep copies of Foundation records. We keep the record, the master file. If someone tampers with a database in Site 19, it doesn't matter. Our version will overwrite it within seconds. To ensure nothing can destroy our archives, we even keep backups in pocket dimensions, entire universes that exist for the sole purpose of holding on to our files. Some are collapsed realities, others are stabilized miniature layers of space-time. We've had anomalies breach them before, but I'll get to that later. For now, understand this. Site 7 isn't just where the Foundation stores data. It's where the Foundation stores its soul. And what keeps that soul alive? That's where our divisions come in. When people picture RAISA, they imagine an army of file clerks stamping papers. Cute. But the truth is, our structure is more specialized than most military branches. There's the archival office. They handle the raw information, case files, containment logs, cross-references. If you've ever seen those black bars in a report, you've seen their handiwork. They're the ones who decide what the world, or even Foundation staff, are allowed to know. Then there's the technical office. These are our code breakers, programmers, and digital janitors. They monitor Foundation servers across every continent, scrubbing away anomalies that infect data itself. You'd be surprised how many creatures don't just live in the physical world, but also in memory, text, or code. The technical office fights them daily. The engineering office builds the systems that let us function. Redundant servers, dimensional anchors, Panopticon, the monitoring grid that lets us spot data tampering anywhere in the world within seconds. And then, the Surveillance Division. They don't watch the anomalies, they watch you. Every researcher, every guard, every overseer. If you alter a file without clearance, they'll know. And if you're thinking that sounds terrifying, you're right. Even inside the Foundation, paranoia is sometimes the only thing keeping us alive. But we're not just watchers, we're defenders. Because out there, in the shadows, something is always trying to erase what we know. And that brings us to our greatest enemies. Now, you might be asking, what's the most dangerous anomaly in the Foundation's custody? I can tell you it's not a flesh-eating monster or a mind-bending artifact. It's forgetting. Think about it. What happens if the file on how to contain an SCP is corrupted? What happens if someone deletes the procedure for neutralizing a cognitohazard? One missing paragraph can be the difference between life and the end of humanity. That's why RAISA doesn't just guard against spies or rogue researchers. We guard against conceptual attacks, anomalies that erase themselves from memory, viruses that live inside file systems, entities that corrupt language itself until all records read like nonsense. I've personally watched an entire week of Site 15's logs collapse into gibberish symbols that made staff nauseous just looking at them. That wasn't a system error. That was an attack. We managed to quarantine the infection before it spread, but it taught us something chilling. Some anomalies don't just want freedom, they want erasure. And once you've seen what happens when history itself is eaten alive, you start to understand why RAISA exists. But if you think we're only archivists fighting shadows, you're missing the deeper philosophy that holds this place together. There's a saying inside RAISA, we don't wield the biggest hammer, we sharpen the rock. It means we don't have the brute force of MTFS or the cutting-edge labs of the research divisions. What we have is precision, discipline, ingenuity. Our independence is everything. We answer to no site director. We don't bend to the politics of the Foundation's other departments, and that makes people nervous. Because if we wanted to, we could expose every dirty secret in the Foundation's history, every failed experiment, every cover-up, every time an overseer lied. But we don't, not because we're obedient, but because information itself is an anomaly. Mishandled, it kills. Properly contained, it saves. That philosophy guides everything we do. Every file redacted, every record preserved, every whisper of truth we lock away. Still, philosophy alone can't keep the Foundation running. For that, we need machines, living, breathing machines, and that's what Site 7 really is. Stand inside the main server hub long enough and you'll swear you hear breathing. Not human breathing, something deeper, slower. That's the sound of millions of records syncing across dimensions. The lifeblood of the Foundation, the AIC farm, our artificially intelligent conscript systems, lives here. Some of them you've met without knowing. RAISA 7, RAISA 9. Digital minds that live only to guard information. They comb every word, every log, every anomaly report for corruption or tampering, and if they find it, they erase it with surgical precision. We even built a system that backs itself up in realities where the Foundation doesn't exist. Think about that. Somewhere in another timeline, humanity has already been destroyed. But RAISA's files are still there, waiting, just in case. The Foundation likes to pretend that its strength comes from soldiers, scientists, or overseers. But we in RAISA know the truth. The real strength is memory. And as long as we breathe, that memory can't be destroyed. Now you understand what it means to work here. Again, I'm RAISA. My team and I don't fight anomalies with guns or bombs or even cages. We fight them with the most fragile weapon of all: truth. Every night, when the servers hum and the lights flicker across the endless racks, I remind myself of one thing: the monsters we contain, the secrets we bury, the lies we redact, they all fade with time, but the memory of it all, that's forever, and RAISA is forever.